All right, we are back with Cybermillion. So let's get into this thing using sudo. That's the next one. Um, Maybe I should read that. Sudo is, loosely, the Linux version of running a command as an administrator on Windows. It's a way in which a user can make their privileges higher to gain access to previously unattainable or unobtainable treasures. This lab will explain how and why. Okay, cool. Let's do it. All right, as we explored in episode 5, file permissions, Linux users, just like users of many other operating systems, can have different read, write, and execute permissions. There are many security benefits that come with using file access controls like this. For example, you can prevent users from being able to view files irrelevant to their job role. However, occasions arise when a user is required to run commands typically outside of their day-to-day job. For example, users may be required to run privileged antivirus scans if they suspect a malicious file exists on their system. All right, so super user do. Super user do is sudo. Sudo. This is where the sudo command comes in. The sudo superuser_do command always allows a user to run commands with the security privileges and access rights of another user. By default, using sudo gives the user the security privileges of a super root user. As sudo or sudo? I mean, I feel like it's sudo. As sudo is an incredibly powerful tool, restriction is typically tracked using the etc sudoers file. Within this file is a list of all users who are allowed to run commands using sudo, which allows all unauthorized sudo attempts to be recorded by the system. All right, that's pretty interesting. This is a lot of reading, by the way, I feel like, but this is pretty interesting here, is that if you are not in this, it tracks you trying to do something. So like if you're not a sudo user and you try to pull something that's not in your permissions privileges, it will track that and it'll let them know. Attempts to be recorded by the system. If you attempt to run a sudo command without sufficient permissions, an error message will present. Where's the part about it saying that an administrator is going to like there's a part. All right, let me see here. I'm going to add user jakey3, right? Sudo add user jakey3. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to switch to that user, right? And if I try to get into like, I don't know, cd bin. Like if I try to do this, right? Or rmgpg, let's say. Am I allowed to do that? Hold on, let me do this. LSLA GPG. Like execute should not allow me to do it. So let's do this. rmgpg. Yes. Permission denied. Okay, there's supposed to be a part where it like tells you that they're gonna record the thing. So Linux recording sudo commands sudo attempt. Let's do that. Varlog auth log is reported in that file. It's quite easy to change that. Just add this line. There is definitely a part here that failed sudo attempts. Yeah, so this is what I'm looking for here, right? So like sudo ls root. Let's try that. Oh, okay. So you're actually supposed to try sudo, right? So like sudo rmgpg. We trust you have received the usual lecture. Okay, so this is what I was looking for, right? So when you try to like pretend to be a sudo user, it gets reported. So now let's see where it actually gets reported, because I've actually never looked at that. Let's see. Let's exit out of this, and then sudo cat. Nope, doesn't look like it. All right, let's do sudo doers. It doesn't look like it's being logged anywhere, actually. So I guess you got to put it in there. Let's try that out. Let's try this out. Oh. I'm going to move this here. And I'm also going to do like a my config. Let's do that. Right. All right. So now let's switch to the other one, and then I'll just do sudo ls hello. Okay, so now if we exit, sudo cat var log sudo.log. That's cool, man. All right, so user not in sudoers, command user bin ls. So this actually logs everything, not just, so it logs anything that any sudo does. All right, interesting. Excuse me. So, all right, let's get back to this. So you can check what commands you can run using sudo by passing the L parameter to the sudo command. Running the command sudo L will output a list of what you can do on the system with sudo. The below example shows the permissions of the Alice user and that they can run the command. Okay, wait, sudo L. Matching default, wait a minute, see sudo doers. Oh boy. All right, so matching defaults entries for Jakey on Moneymaker, env reset mail. All right, so it's basically saying what's in here, right? You got env reset, mail bad pass, secure path, which by the way, I don't know what any of this stuff is, but all right. By default, sudo runs commands under the context of which user? That would be root. Run the command sudo L. What commands can Alice run without entering a password? Sudo L. Without entering a password, no pass, she could use cat. All right. Well, what's let me do that here. All. Okay, so you can limit that. That's cool. All right. So typically sudo is invoked by entering sudo and then the name of the command you want to run. For example, imagine a situation where you need to read a file to which only the root user has access. Running the command sudo cat restricted access file would allow you to read the file by temporarily giving your user the security privileges of the root user. Yeah, so basically you're pretending to be the root user. If you want to open the file as a user other than root, you can pass the u parameter to the sudo command. For example, if the file was owned by the Alice owner, the command sudo u alice cat alice file would allow your user to read the file as Alice. All right, so what's happening here exactly? Sudo u lets you read it as Alice. Now, see, this part I'm a little confused about, actually. So if I do user run command or edit file as specified user name or ID. So can I like pretend to be somebody else? I mean, that's kind of weird. Like, that's not really secure, but okay. I guess if you're root, you can do anything, right? But to pretend to be somebody else is interesting. All right, switch user. So hold on, let me try this then. Sudo u cheeky3 ls. So how do you know? All right, I guess we'll get into that. Switch user. Another command that can be used to switch user privileges is the su switch user command, which I actually used earlier, which allows you to switch users on the terminal and can be more efficient than entering sudo before every command. Okay. So, all right, like sudo, the su command by default switches you to a super root user account. Okay. Let's do this. I don't think it actually works on this one because I tried to do this. Yeah, I think on WSL it's not going to work. Let me try it here though. Oh. Su. I don't know the password. All right. Not sure. Well, yeah, I'm not sure. I know that I don't need the password to do this, right? Alice cat. How do you do? Okay, hold on a second here. Sudo user alice secret.cat secret.txt solid sphere. Run this command as Alice, right? And the command is Alice. But now, how do we switch to? Where was it? How do we switch user to root? By default, switches you to the super root user. If a username is specified, you will be prompted for that user's password before access will be granted. For example, entering the command su alice would allow you to switch to the Alice user account on the system as long as you know the password. All right, so sudo run a command as a super root user, sudo u run as a user, as the user you specify. Su is switched to the user account. to the root account, sorry. And so the only thing that they're missing here is the dash. Because there's a difference between Sue Jakey3 and between Sue Jakey3. So, and I think what that is it's the environment variables. So if I do export, do I even need export? I think I do. Export, let's say hello equals world, right? And export. And export. Nope. I think you just do echo. Let's just do that. Echo hello. Echo. What did I do? Jeez. Oh, that explains it. All right. Hello. Right. So we have that as an environment variable. Now, if I go into Sue Jakey3, right, and I do the same thing, let's do echo hello. All right. I guess that works. All right. Let me try now. Sue Jakey3 like this. Echo hello. So that's the one that doesn't work. So I guess if you don't use the dash, it carries over your environment variables, right? So like if you do Jakey3 and you echo hello, it saves the environment variables. If you do the dash though, it gets, I think it uses the root environment variables, the root user. All right, so let's try to finish this. Use Alice's password to log in as Alice. So Sue L. Wait, what is? Whoa. L is login. Make a shell login. Oh, this is what that is. Okay, dash is the same as dash L, so it's a login. So actually, so if we keep the dash, right, it's going to be we're not going to have the environment variables, right? Because no, sorry, if you keep the dash, you do have them. Now this is what I got to remember because I don't. Okay, this looks like, yeah, if you keep the dash, it gets rid of it. If you don't have a dash, it keeps it. So the dash is, I guess you could think of it as dash erases it, right? That's an easy way to look at it. Dash puts a line through it. So dash L or dash Alice. We got the password secret solid sphere. Yeah, so actually let's do this. Let's do export hello equals world. And if we do echo hello, we got world. And if we do Sue dash Alice, remember it's going to strike through it. We're not going to have that environment variable, right? Secret solid sphere. And if I do echo hello, it's not there. But if I do secret solid sphere and I do echo hello, that'll be there. Cool, very cool. All right, great lesson. What is the token found in roots? Oh, we actually have to do this. All right, secret solid sphere. I don't know, what's the token? Root token.txt sudo. All right, So that's good to know. Strike through. All right. Is it gonna load? I feel like it's supposed to load, right? All right, see now. Oh, it didn't do this. Sorry, guys. All right. All right, very cool, very cool. I'm gonna skip this. So again, I feel like, the problem with these is you do get like, I think you get some stuff that you're supposed to learn about, but they don't really go into like, which is fine because then it would be even longer. You'd be reading all night, right? And I definitely don't want to be doing that. All right, so I'm going to leave it as that because I feel like we spent a good amount of time on that one.